All right, shalom, shalom. First off, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem,
Yahweh,
Yahweh Shai,
Bahashem, Yahweh
Bahashem,
Shai, Bahashem,
Rachakwadash.
Rachakwadash.
We want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And we want to give a salutation unto the elect of the nation of Salakia. Am I still here, bro?
Khan. Yeah, you good.
Okay. Salakia. Something had popped up on my screen, but want to give a salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Yatazakba here with the brother chaawashab here
Kawashab.
from the GMS Nebraska camp. And this it's lucky for the delay. You know, any choppiness with the video. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. Baba Kashab, bear with us. You know, but in this video, what we want to go into is speaking on Amalek's deceit. You know, Amalek are the small hats that are in the land of Israel today that claim to be the children of the Most High, but truly they are Edomites. You know, they are a tribe of, of Edomites who are the so-called white men, and through their deceit, they have um, lied to, fooled, and brainwashed the world to believe the falsehood that they are the children of the Most High and to hide the truth of who the true children of the Most High are, the true nation of Israel, which are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans today. And you know, um, their wickedness, their evil, is being brought to the forefront of the world on a mainstream level, and we see Amalek scrambling to hide these truths from coming out. We see that they're trying to lock down social media, you know, put different algorithms to do more pro-Israel content and hide so-called anti-Semitic content and all these different things, you know. And in this lesson, we just want to go into these topics, bring out some scriptures and prophecy showing that this would happen and what it's going to lead to, you know. So before we move on, did you have anything you want to speak on?
Khan. Yeah, just basically wanted to bring up how, there's a chart you can find on the internet that it's a very good depiction of what's going on in these high positions of power, especially in these media companies. So I got it pulled up here. I'm looking at it as, CNN, NBC News, New York Times, and basically you see that the presidents, the vice presidents, the news anchors, like, the all these different positions of leaderships are these small hats, showing you they control the narrative, they're controlling the media, you know.
Khan, that's right. You know, and I wanted to start off with this precept here in Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 16, which says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered," which is basically showing that they're being exposed. You know, the image, the facade that they've been keeping up for all these years, the Lord is allowing it to be wiped away, and the truth of who they are is coming out. And it says, "The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." And that shameful spewing is basically the condemnation that is coming toward them. Whether it's from the Lord's men, the prophets, we are putting a shameful spewing upon their glory, but you also have regular people in the world bringing a shameful spewing upon their glory. People hate Amalekites here in America. You got Edomites here in America that can't stand these people. You know,
Hmm.
so there's a shameful spewing being made upon their glory that while they were trying to act like they were the top people on the earth, people like, man, y'all are some disgusting freaks, you know?
Hmm. Gone. Hey, and
And
that
so,
reminds me of that guy. Um, oh, Salaki, brother.
now you good, up?
I was just gonna say, you remember that guy, Mini Mustache? All right, we can't say his name, but that guy, he was giving a speech, and now they have AI, so you can hear it in English, and a lot of the stuff he was saying made sense, man. Which one point I wanted to bring out that I forgot also earlier was that they comprise only like what 1 or 2% of the population. And that's what he was going into. He was like, they comprise that much, but they're the ones pushing out all these degenerate pornographic materials. All right. And the books that they were burning back then were these, books for the children, um, what is that called? A transformerism, you know, where they're teaching the kids to cross dress and having the kids learn the opposite roles, which is, you know, that's wickedness, man. And that's what he was trying to get rid of back then, you see. But they covered up, they made it look like he was a monster, you know, when
Mm-hmm.
he was just for his people, you know.
And now that we see Amalek has control of all these different media, Amalek controls the music. Amalek controls the TV shows, the news stations, all the different things like the brother was saying. And now that they have the freedom to push all the agendas that they want to push, now we see that transgenderism is something that has taken hold on people's minds in the earth. We see that that just LGBTQ behavior in general has taken over. Um, that there's all type of degeneracy in the music. This wicked vibration is allowed to run rampant because the leaders of this earth allow it to run rampant because they are wicked themselves. You know, but did you have anything you want to say? Because I had another precept. If not,
Nah.
okay. So I just wanted to grab Second Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 8, where it says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth." So, who is the wicked? According to Malachi chapter 1 verse 4, it says that Edom is the border of wickedness. And so that wicked is being revealed. It says that the Lord is consuming the wicked by the spirit of his mouth, and the Lord speaks through his prophets. We are the Lord's mouthpiece. It says that this no prophecy came by the will of man, but holy men spake as they were, roughly paraphrasing, holy men spake as they were inspired by the Holy Spirit. So it says that the wicked is being revealed and consumed by the spirit of the Lord's mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Because what this is leading to is that our Lord Yahweh Shai, whom this world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is going to return and take these devils down out of power and destroy them over there that's in our land. And it says, even
God.
him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. And so we would just want to get into some of those lying wonders, some of those deceit, and how Esau has the power to, specifically Amalek in this lesson, they have the power to bring it about. Um, so if you didn't have anything that you want to speak on, I was going to start off in this article.
La. Yep.
Okay. And at any point, Baba Bashar, feel free to stop me if you have anything. But this is
Con.
from the Cradle dot co, and this article is titled "Israel Invests Millions to Game Chat GPT into Replicating Pro-Israel Content for Gen Z Audiences," and this is from September 30th, 2025. Because like we were saying, when your whole ideology is built up on lies, and the truth starts to reveal those lies, you have to keep on stacking lies and deceits to hold it up. So now it says the Israeli government has hired a company to help it train Chat GPT to be more pro-Israel. It says the report says the contract is worth $6 million. So they're putting a lot of money into this, and this is just one aspect of them, doing some type of countermeasure to hide the truth,
Mm-hmm.
because it's getting to the point to where you can go on these AI platforms and ask it questions, and it would bring out truths about these people. Or you could go on social media, for example, because I believe I can't remember you sent it, or if I sent it, but about how they was paying different social media influencers $7,000 each if they like put out a certain amount of posts that was in Israel's favor.
Con, that might have been you then. I
So
remember seeing it on the chat, you know. Yeah, they basically buying up these different influencers, you know. Con.
hmm and Baba Gashad, can we grab that precept where it talks about them that diligent search?
Con.
Or actually, we can grab that Job 13 and 4 first.
Con. This is Job chapter 13 and verse 4. But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go
You're
into the word.
forgers of lies.
Go ahead.
Salakia, let's get into that word,
Still like it. There's a
forgers.
little bit of the delay, but yeah, we'll go into that. It's H2950 to Paul, and it says to smear or to plaster over.
Mm-hmm. To smear or to plaster over, and that's exactly what Esau's doing with what we're speaking about, with this with how they have to train Chat GPT and basically overwrite his algorithm, or have people sit there and put all this money to have people react to certain things a different way so that it reacts with lies instead of truth, or to go on these social media platforms and now they have to write the algorithm to where, or they put an AI into the algorithm where it scrubs TikTok or it scrubs Instagram and is looking for anti-Israel posts, or is looking for so-called anti-Semitism posts, and that's them smearing over the truth. You know.
Um, I got another definition of the word. So just going into the etymology of forger, it says a maker, a smith. Um, I mean, the brother, myself and the brother, Yatadak was talking about it earlier. How when you beat a sword and you're making a sword, a lot of work goes into that. You know, and that's how they're going into making these lies. They're doing all this research, paying off. They're paying off AI, man. Even AI is not allowed to tell the truth anymore. You see? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, one more definition I got that hits hard too is a counterfeiter, one who makes by false imitation. You know,
Con, con, a counterfeiter, one who makes by false imitation, and these devils' whole existence, they whole being is a false imitation of the Israelites. Because when we look at, they in our holy land, they claim to be the children of the Most High, but they don't follow the laws. They over there, but they don't uphold righteousness. If they was the true people, if they was really fulfilling the prophecies of the Israelites going back to the land, then we would see biblical prophecy being fulfilled. We read in Isaiah chapter 2 where it talks about when the Israelites are set back in the land, and when our government is the top government, or our mountain is above all the mountains in the earth, that the nations will flow unto us and they will learn of our ways, and that righteousness will be perpetuated in the earth. But we see that we're at a time where wickedness had exceedingly polluted the whole earth, because the scriptures say, um, I'll grab this real fast. In Psalms 12 and 8, where it says, "The wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted." And we see the wickedest people exalted in the earth. They on top. So therefore, the wicked are walking everywhere. You know? And so we don't see biblical prophecy coming to pass. It says that when the Israelites come into the land, that what would happen? Peace would be on the earth. That people would beat their swords into plowshares, which is talking about where the ain't no nation gonna have no military no more. Ain't no gonna be tensions in the earth where one people is trying to fight against another for a show of power. The Israelites is gonna be in power. Our kingdom gonna be on top, and they gonna be in servitude. There ain't gonna be no point to fight no more. But yet they're in a war themselves. you
God,
know, make that make sense.
endless wars, man. It's crazy.
And so I wanted to read this next part of this paragraph here because the brother had made a good point. I'll let him speak on it. It says a minimum of 80% of the content produced by Clock Tower will be tailored to Gen Z audiences across platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, podcasts, and other relevant digital and broadcast outlets.
Gone. Yeah, because it makes me think about why would these small hats want to target Gen Z? Because if you understand the culture that Gen Z's in right now, they got a crash out mentality. They really were born into a time where they don't see a future. The American dream is long gone, and you see around the world all these protests who's doing it is Gen Z, you know. And there was an article I read about a protest that happened in Mexico when that Mexican president, who guess what, she's a small hat. What's her name? Claudia Sheinbaum or something like that. You know, she was defending the cartels. You know, and then basically Gen Z was crashing out over there. You know, you had the one in Nepal, which we were talking about earlier. So yeah, they're going to be targeting Gen Z to do what? To re-brainwash them into thinking that everything's okay. Israel is a good people. They're just doing what they have to do, and everybody's against them, and they're the victim. Like always. You see, just like in the time of
Yep.
Mini Mustache.
Yep. That's the thing. They're the villains. Hey, it's like the elder the elder out of Chicago always says, he calls them I believe victim villains, because they're the ones
Con.
perpetuating the evil. But once as soon as somebody reacts to their evil, they're pointing the finger like, look what they did, they hurting us. Like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, man, you know.
Con,
And
man.
so
Hey, just look at 911. A great example of that as well, man. All these different psyops. You know, I believe, like you said, the brother from Chicago, the elder from Chicago. I don't know if it was him or someone in the camp. They brought out like a picture. It was a depiction of a small hat standing on top of a pile of dead bodies, pointing it at a so-called Negro, saying "murderer," and
Con,
it's a great example, man. But yeah, that's what these people are, man. They just
con. And so I'll read a little bit more of this article. It says the company will also use websites and content to deliver GPT framing results on GPT conversations on behalf of Israel. Additionally, it will allow for the integration of narrative messaging into Salem Media Network properties and aligned distribution channels. So here, let me scroll down a little bit to a good point. Um,
while you do that, if I could real quick, I wanted to mention how the brother just read that it's about framing. So when you look up a result, you want to make sure you're getting the truth. But what they're trying to do is frame it as if, again, they're innocent. It's like when someone gets falsely accused, they say, "I got framed." You know, and so that word framing, uh, go into it real quick. Uh, here's the AI overview. In a conversation, framing is the process of setting the context and tone to influence how a topic is understood.
yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. You're influencing the truth of the matter because when you talk about something, you have what actually happened, and then you have the story that's told over that. And this article has a paragraph here, which is a good example of this very thing, to where it says Google is executing a $45 million advertising contract with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office to spread propaganda denying famine in Gaza. And
Mm-hmm.
just like with all the war crimes that's going on over there, you have them Palestinians, you have a lot of them that's starving, you have a lot of them that's dying from famine, and them somehow they got phones, they got social media, and they posting that to the internet, and so people see that. But to counteract that, what you have Netanyahu is spending millions of dollars to do what? To make a deal with Google to say no, that's actually not happening. There's literally advertisements that says it's not even like clever. They literally just said there is no famine in Gaza. You're
Con.
framing a situation to be something that it's not, and this is what they do, and it gets to a point to where like we even see with certain truths, like things that you used to be able to look up on the internet, you can't find no more. Esau doing that because the truth is exposing him, and it hurts his facade, it hurts his framing, and um, what it's ultimately going to lead to is the famine of the word. Because can we grab that precept Baba Shah in Amos 8 and 11?
Con.
Because I believe I don't remember if it was at a World Economic Forum meeting or if it was just at some meeting with some officials. I don't know exactly which one, but there was a small hat woman that was speaking, and she said, and this was at the beginning of the war uh, that broke out, with Israel back in 2023, and they said, or this woman said that the Israel's biggest threat are young black men in America,
Mm,
and you have this war going on, but young black men in America are y'all biggest threat. Why would you say something like that? But they're saying that because she's pointing toward the prophets. Because
God.
just like it said in 2 Thessalonians 2:8, they're being consumed by the spirit of the Lord's mouth. To where, and we're about to get into this other article which says some of the things we trying to say in perfect words, in my opinion, but it's basically like it's undeniable that y'all are the wicked at this point. And if you, they're trying so hard, they're spending all this money, they're doing all these different things to try to hide the truth, and it's not working. And it's gonna get to a point to where if you can't hide it, if you can't smear something on top of it, then you just have to shut off the fountain of truth altogether.
God. This is Amos 8, Salakia, chapter 8, verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh.
Khan, there's gonna come a time where there's gonna be a famine of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh. These videos that's getting put up on the internet ain't gonna be on YouTube no more. They gonna be stripping all these. You already see brothers' videos getting clipped for different things that they say for so-called medical misinformation. For certain things they be saying. It's gonna get to a point to where channels are just gonna be getting taken down in droves. To where these algorithms is gonna get so good that as soon as they hear us saying the name of the Lord, or as soon as they hear us saying Amalek or whatever, they gonna start chopping videos. It's going to get to a point to where things are going to get so hectic. Side that through the spirit is, it's going to come down that what we ain't going to be out on the corners no more. But that's sort of a different topic. But it's going into that prophecy that there's going to be a famine of the word where the prophets ain't going to be preaching, um, forever. You know, was that it to that?
Um, there's a little bit more in verse 12. It says, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. God. Just basically going into how, hey, get this word while you
Salaki, it
can,
started.
man.
Uh,
Oh yeah, it did a little delay. Lucky, you go ahead, brother.
Nah, not the water is it, but like you said, get this word while you can, because this
Mm,
thing is going to get shut down. It's going to get attacked, and even though the Lord is going to use Esau to do it, it's all by the will of the Lord, because this is a message that has a you know, the mercy doors ain't going to be open forever. This message of repentance is um for a limited time, and the Lord wants to see who's going to take hold unto this gospel and turn to Yahweh Bashem, Habashai, while the evil days draw not nigh. Because once the time comes where the prophecies that we're speaking about of all the evils and calamities, once they hit everybody's doorstep, of course, people are going to want to do what they need to do to be protected. But right now, while things are cool, while they have the liberty, the Lord want to see who's going to take hold of that mercy. So that's why, that famine of the word is eventually going to come. But getting back onto the topic, that's about it of what I wanted to bring out. Or I'll bring out this last part of this article and then go to the next, and we'll bring out some things in there. But it says, in this article, it says it also revealed that 56% of U.S. voters disapprove of U.S. President Donald Trump's handling of the Gaza war. It says, the Shalaki, if it delayed at all, it says the poll also found that 49% of U.S. voters have a negative view of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and only 21% hold positive views on the premier. And that's just the reports they get. That's just the people that's voting. You got a lot of people that hold opinions and they don't go and vote. So that doesn't paint the full picture. But it says young adults across the U.S. have shown the biggest decline in approval of Israel. You know, and Baba Gashah, can we grab Daniel 12:4?
Con.
And
This is
let's see.
Daniel's chapter 12 and verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many
It says,
shall,
O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book even to the time of the end. And this book was sealed, but the seals were taken off. That in this time, through the Holy Spirit, the Lord's men will be able to understand the words of this book, to understand these prophecies, and now we see this truth flourishing worldwide.
many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased.
Now it says knowledge shall be increased, and we've seen this with the technological boom that we've seen. Really, I say within the last 60 years or so, to where, or let's take it even before that. When you look at the 1920s, from the 1920s and before, things you've seen more advancement between after the 1920s to now than you seen from the 1920s and before that, because knowledge was increased. The Lord allowed a technological boom. The Lord allowed all type of advancement to come in the world, and one of those very important things of knowledge being increased was the internet. And through the internet, not only was this word allowed to be pushed on a very high level, but a lot of truths were allowed to be pushed, to where now we see is biting Esau in the ass that they created the internet, because they're having trouble hiding all these different things. And because knowledge has been increased, that is what is basically messing up their narrative, which leads me into this next article where it says this article is from I'll just say the title. Yeah, it says how Zionism lost the narrative and unmasked itself. And it says for decades, Zionism thrived in the shadows on curated images, sanitized history, and a $1 billion perception management machine designed to obscure the violence built into its foundations. But something ruptured over the last 2 years. It is not just Israel's military onslaught in Gaza that has been exposed to the world, it is the ideology underlying it. The more Israel live streams its own belligerence and brutality, the more frantic its defenders come, and the more unfiltered and unmasked their justifications grow. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that their different thought processes, their ideologies, they're open now. We see people are able to go to the Talmud and see how they really think about the people in the world, that we're just goyim to them. you know, that we're nothing. Did you have something you want to say out?
Uh, La.
Okay, Khan. And it says, I'll scroll down. It says, speaking to an audience eager to be reassured, Hurwitz did not offer analysis so much as a confession, which is basically Sarah Hurwitz was an Obama speechwriter. So she's basically seasoned in propaganda. Twisting narratives and things like that. And she's apologetic toward Israel essentially. But it says Hurwitz did not offer analysis so much as a confession. She complained that young people are no longer persuadable by pro-Israel arguments because they are seeing in real time the carnage in Gaza, and that social media is smashing their brains, quote unquote, with imagery while she tries to provide them with data and facts. So she's basically saying that since this truth is coming out, we can't trick them no more. We can't brainwash them, and this is bad. And that's the thing. The Lord is riling up the spirits of the inhabitants of this earth to seek the truth. To seek the truth about Esau's wickedness, and there's nothing Esau can do to hide it. So um, I want to scroll down to this to one of these last paragraphs here, because it kind of repeats itself a lot. Says some of the things we've been saying in this lesson.
Mm.
But I'll say here, okay, says you cannot starve a population while simultaneously demanding empathy. You cannot present yourself as morally superior while raising entire neighborhoods. You cannot insist on your innocence when the evidence circulates globally, minute by minute. Young people are not rejecting Israel because they are ignorant. They are rejecting it because they are informed. They are not refusing facts. They are refusing propaganda. They have seen what Palestinians have been describing for generations: the destruction, the dispossession, the dehumanization, and they recognize it for what it is. Baba Kashad, can we grab Obadiah 1 and 7?
Con.
Or no, Obadiah 1 and 6, Salakia.
Con. This is Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 6. How
Mm-hmm.
were the things of Esau searched out?
Mm-hmm.
How were his hidden things sought up?
Everything has been revealed. Is open to view. And do you have the NLT for that?
Con. Yeah, this is Obadiah 1 and 6 in the NLT. It says, every nook and cranny of Edom will be searched and looted. Every treasure will be found and taken.
So it says every nook and cranny, all the different deceits and lies that you've been pushing, all these narratives, all these agendas, people see it now. And then you want to try to demonize people for pushing the truth, call them conspiracy theorists. You know, but nah, that's y'all are pushing conspiracies, and it's not a theory. It's facts.
Mm-hmm.
It's reality. It's truth. You know, and it's all going towards Esau's downfall, because going back to Second Thessalonians 2 again, it said first that the wicked will be consumed by the spirit of the Lord's mouth, and then they will be destroyed by the brightness of his coming. All this truth coming out is prophetic, and it is proceeding. um you know, we see that basically they're being taken to court. You know, all the different things, the evidence is being shown, and it's cementing that their destruction that is soon to come is warranted. All the evils you've been doing, the fact that you know lied about who the Israelites are, and you kept us in this low state, and had us thinking we black, having us think we just go back to Africa, having us think that we just started in America or Mexico, and that's as far back as we go. That's our heritage. Feeding us all these abominable foods, feeding us all this uh, degeneracy, keeping us in this low state, while you reap the benefits of claiming to be our people, and you use that status to do more evil. You're gonna have to pay for that. You reap what you
Con.
sow.
Con. Yeah, I got a precept to you, brother.
Babakusha.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 24 and verse 20. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever.
Yep, it says his latter end shall be that he perish forever. That's cemented, that's written in the book. And the Lord is not a man that he shall lie. If it's written, it's going to come to pass. So
Mm-hmm.
soon to come, Amalek is in the earth right now. That means that soon to come, that prophecy is going to come to pass. You're going to go into captivity. You're going to be underneath our rule. And after 1,000 years of Amalek and the rest of the Edomites serving captivity underneath us, y'all going to be destroyed forever and taken out of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Every remnant of wickedness is going to be finally put out once Esau is wiped away.
Con. I got a quick precept to that too. I was just reading a daily proverb today. Every day I like to read one, and it
What's up
reminds
with that?
me. Con. Culture War.
Go ahead. I'm gonna be real quick. I'm just grabbing my charger.
Con. Culture War. This is Proverbs chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 20. It says that thou mayest walk in the way of good men and keep the paths of the righteous. Verse 21. For the upright shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall remain in it. Right? Speaking about us Israelites, starting with the elect, right? The 144,000 of Yasharallah. All All right. And again, who are the Israelites? The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. Verse 22. But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth. You see, just like we was reading earlier, like the brother had said, after they serve their 1,000 years of slavery, there's not going to be any more use for you Edomites, man. You're just going to be, like it says here, cut off from the earth. It says, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it. You know? Because it's like a cancer on the earth, man. You Amalekites, everywhere you go, you causing destruction. You causing things to turn upside down. And not only have the Israelites seen it and been speaking about it, even all these heathen are starting to catch wind of it and be like, damn, man, they really are a fucking problem, man. You know? And so eventually, when the Lord sets up that perfect kingdom, that's going to be what's going to really make it fully perfect, is just getting rid of Esau altogether, man. You know?
And these nations are gonna be happy about it too. Because you seen I forget. They basically had a like a summit, like a nation summit, and they took a vote on who was like basically on Israel's side and who wasn't. And majority of the nations was all against Israel. There was only a couple of them that was on Israel's side. One of them being America. But a lot of these nations, they like, man, nah, these people gotta go, bro.
God.
These people gotta go, and that's why it says that when the in Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Like everybody know that you a problem, but you hold the power over the earth right now. So we gotta do your bidding. We gotta do what you say.
God, that's beautiful. Yep. Yep. Hey, that's why that guy Abdul Gamal Nassar, I believe is how it's pronounced. He said the JEWs will never have peace here because they left black and came back white.
That's
So
right.
it's coming out, man. That truth is coming out. They know who the real Israelites are, man. And it's definitely not no Groucho Max looking, imposters over there with their little black hats and sacrificing pork and circumcising children with their mouth. All these things that we never did, man. Those are clearly Edomites. That's Edomites' heritage. Doing all that weirdo stuff.
Yep. Yep. Con. And I do want to mention, because we was reading this article and it's talking about the evils that they did to Gaza and things like that. We not on Amalek's side and we not on the Palestinian side either, because that land don't belong to either of them. They belong to us at the end of the day, But um, wickedness is wickedness at the end of the day. We see the war crimes that they doing. We see how the evils they doing to them people, starving the babies and all that. And is wickedness is wickedness at the end of the day. And we calling it out. And that's why we say these nations is going to be happy, because whether they doing the things that they doing to us or the things that they doing to any of these nations across the earth, they ain't going to be able to no more. But this is really about the Israelites. This is about the evils that you've done to us, and that's being perpetuated by you being in our land. And the Most High Yahweh is seething angry at these people because of what they doing in our land, and you pushing the wickedness you pushing. You could be in our land and perpetuate righteousness. You know what the laws is. You could push the vibration in the earth for people to walk righteously, but you don't. And there's a scripture that says that. It says let me see. Let me find it real fast. Yeah. Yep, this is Isaiah 26:10, which says, "Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord." They in the land of uprightness right now, and they still dealing unjustly. That's why it says that a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. Ashdod being around the region of Tel Aviv today, and that bastard is Esau. That's in there just wreaking havoc. Like, y'all niggas need to get taken out of there, bro. ruining the holy land. Like, what are you doing? And that's why it's
Yeah.
to the point. It's like you had something you about to say.
Oh, now I was just gonna say, yeah, they destroying the land, destroying the earth. I mean, and they like it makes me think. You often bring it out on the highways and byways, Habakkuk chapter 2, where it goes into how this man is never satisfied. You know, I mean, here he is. He has all the
Yep.
wealth, all the power, and he's still starving people out just to get a few dollars more, just to get a little bit more. Just no mercy. You know,
Yeah, and even
it's
like
crazy.
that's revealed where people be like showing the picture of the Jew rat, and he'll be like this, cause these
Mm,
niggas greedy, man. They just want more and more and more, man.
God,
You know,
yeah.
but that's about all I had though. Ak, if you had any other precept or any other point you wanted to make.
Yeah, just wanted to mention, man, we're just telling the truth, and people often, scoffers will often talk about how, oh, well, you guys are just angry, this, that, and the third, but it's because, you ought to be angry when such injustice is being done. And, the Lord hates these Amalekites, man. The Lord hates these Edomites. I'm gonna get a quick precept. This is Psalms 110:7, where I'm gonna start with 6. It says, "He shall judge among the heathen, he shall fill the places with the dead bodies, he shall wound the heads over many countries." You know, just kind of going over how he's going to take down this rulership. But look in verse 7, it says, "He shall drink of the brook in the way, therefore shall he lift up the head." Which means he's gonna be refreshed, man. Yahweh Shai is waiting to get his hands on these Edomites, man, more than we are. He's more angry than we are making these videos. So it's not emotional. We're just telling the truth of the matter, like the brother had mentioned. All the babies starving and all the injustices. All right, this is the only logical response, not to just be like, well, let's all hold hands and forget about it. You know, you forget about it, he's gonna do it again. He's gonna keep going. So this man is just not fit to rule. Yeah, that's all I got on that.
Yeah, yeah. Just to back you up, like I said, Isaiah 26:10, let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. So there's no hope for this man, because the spirit, the soul that is lifted up in him is not upright, as the scriptures say. So the only solution is destruction. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Once again, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Bahashem, Yahweh
Bahashem,
Shai,
Yahweh Shai,
Bahashem,
Bahashem,
Rachakwadash.
Rachakwadash.
And we want to give a double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS, and a salutation unto the elect. Hey, Shalom.
Shalom.